Hari Om. Good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's invoke the power of praying together. Ashato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya Sahana vavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord, the Almighty, the Omniscient, the Omnipotent, the Omnipresent, who also has the divine names Vyavasayaha, Vyavasthanaha, to such a magnificent Supreme Lord, together with Shraddha, Bhakti, Prapatti, we offer our humble salutations, filled with devotion and faith, to seek your grace, your mercy, your blessings, your love, your compassion, your forgiveness, your strength. O Lord, bestow upon us the divine qualities like Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Prapatti, Mumukshutva, only and only to realize our true selves, to have the experience of the Aparokshanubhuti in our own hearts, in this very life. We beseech in you that at the end of our lives, we reach thy holy feet. Our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Today, by the grace of Almighty and the blessings of the Guru Parampara, we are on our Divine Discourse number 360 on the 19th of December 2023. शोभनकृत नाम संवत्सर दक्षिणायन हेमंत ऋतु मार्गशिर मास शुक्ल पक्ष भौमवासरे सप्तमी तिथौ पूर्वा भाद्र नक्षत्र सिद्धि योगे भद्रकरणे. On this auspicious day of a Tuesday and the auspicious time of the evening, we all make a firm resolve. We take a pratigna at the feet of the Lord that, O Lord, I truly understand what my true nature is. Due to ignorance, again and again, due to the Maya Shakti playing on me, again and again I fail to realize my true self. Give me that knowledge constantly and keep me connected with thyself. Thereby, I know that this jiva is operating. I become a sakshi, and this jiva, the so-called aham and me, becomes a drishya. Having said that, I accept every situation, every circumstance, every incident, every person as nothing but a play of your Leela. I know truly well that all this is happening in my life only and only to uplift me from this ocean of births and deaths. I have lived millions and millions and millions of lives. Here you grant me one rare opportunity with all the requisite periphery and atmosphere to liberate me from this jiva bhava. With devotion, faith, and complete surrender, prapatti, I once again offer myself to you, O Lord. Om. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you. See here, Lord Krishna in the 14th verse, which we discussed in the previous class, which we were halfway, he's talking about the Kartrutva. Now, there is a common saying, no, we don't do anything, it's all that what God does. And then when we have that feeling that if everything God is doing, then what are we doing? So that means I'm free from the Kartrutva bhava. This is one aspect to it. But see how confused lot we are. On one hand, say that everything God does. And on the other hand, we don't accept what God does. Like say, for example, you as a parent are blessed with a special child. Do you accept it? You start going to various doctors. You start treating the child. You want it to become normal. But if you have a normal child, what do? You accept it. You say, oh, this is gift from God. I am blessed. Now here, if your faith in that God was true, whatever came to you, you would have accepted it. Yes, it is my prarabdha, it is my destiny. So many things which when we do not know, what we try to do is we jumble up the whole thing. And we neither have an understanding of any aspect in the right manner to any extent. We don't have. We have just got bits and pieces of knowledge. And for everything, when something goes good, you say, see, I did it. You know how much effort I put in this? And the other person says, yes, I really understand. I could see you working so hard. And you start talking about yourself. I did this, I did that. And when something goes wrong, I don't know why God is doing this to me. Every now and then I see, I think He's after me only. I have not resolved the earlier problem. Another problem has come. After this, I see that at the threshold there is one more problem standing over there. So now you understand, what are we talking about? There is no justification at all. There is no understanding. We are just blaming on various things without knowing the impact. So here, we as sadhaks should understand that Lord very clearly. Let's take the 14th verse once again, and we'll just take a brief recap of this. We have just done half last time, so we'll understand the rest of the shloka today and move on to the 15th. Again, 15th is a fantastic verse where many facts are revealed to us by Lord Krishna, and which can be an eye-opener in the true sense. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. See, no confusion at all. Very, very clear what Lord Krishna is saying over here. What he says is, he says that whatever you think, sometimes you say that I am doing. Sometimes when things go out of your control, you say, see, God did this to me. Meaning what? Whenever it suits you, in whatever manner, you start talking on those lines. So, here the Lord says very clearly that understand, neither you are the doer nor I am the doer. It is by the Prakruthi, Swabhavastu. There is a nature in every jiva which we are seeing, which I have given. According to that nature. Now, how did that nature come? That is Anadikala. That nature comes from eons, millions and billions of janma. That particular jiva is having a particular nature, and it goes on. There is a rotation. As every jiva, after crossing the 84 lakh births, it once gets a human birth. In the same way, you move from sattva, rajas, tamas, you go on rotating over here. So now, when I know that if I am not the Kartha, and I know that it is okay, the Lord also is not the Kartha, as is very clearly saying over here, then this Kartrutva is happening, isn't it? How is this Kartrutva happening? So the Lord says clearly, understand that when the play of nature is happening over here, why do you come in between? The nature is doing over here. Why do you come in between and say that I am the doer? Don't we see? We are sitting quiet and suddenly somebody calls and says, oh, we are going here. Would you like to join us for this movie? We have understood. Fantastic ratings. And then you talk about who all are coming for the movie, the list of friends, and then say we're going to have a dinner after the movie and this and that. Then suddenly you jump up. You were sitting quietly at some place. You suddenly jump up and you get into action. Like this we have seen several times. And the adverse also has happened, where we want to really do something, but then we are feeling lethargic. You say, yes, the Mind is willing, but the flesh is not agreeing. So in this way, these kind of situations happen because of the Prakruthi in play. So the Lord very clearly says, I am not here to give to get any jiva to do good things, nor I am here to make any jiva do bad things. And as a result of the good, the jiva gets punya, and as a result of the bad, the jiva gets papa. I am not here to do this partiality. I have left it to the Prakruthi, and Prakruthi plays its role in terms of taking the jiva forward. Now we should all get a question. Okay, I understand. How do I get rid of my kartrutva? See, we are all we know any action comes in, we immediately have an expectation from that action. And when there is a ichcha, along with the karya, it becomes kartrutva. As simple as that. Now what we have understood here, as per what Lord Krishna is telling us, that it is the nature which is making you do all these things. Even if you want to sit quiet, sometimes it puts you into action. Sometimes you want to get into action, but it makes you sit quiet. So understand that there is something called as Prakruthi which is operating on you. But now, how do I get out of this? Can I really get out of kartrutva? Please tell me. I don't want to be in this kartrutva bhava, because again and again I feel that I am the doer. I want these results. I want to achieve in a particular manner. Then here, Lord Krishna gives a beautiful example. He says, when you go to sleep, which is our swarupa sthiti, there mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, indriya, prana, indriya, the deha, everything, although it is there, but when we sleep, at the first stage, everything is there when we are awake, and as we sleep, what happens? The body and the senses, they withdraw. They are not there. And then the mind opens up with a dream world. It projects a dream world. And you are able to see so many pleasant things, unpleasant things, likable, not likable, good, bad, ugly. All that happens in that dream world. Now the Lord tells us, go to the next level. You go into a deep sleep. In deep sleep, first of all, your body and senses are already not there in a dream state. Now, with that mind which was there, even the mind is completely subdued. Now, in that state, what happened? There is no ahankara, there is no mamakara, there is no kartrutva. So the Lord says, on a daily basis, this is happening with you. You are not aware of anything over there. You are in that calm and peaceful state. But no sooner you get up, what happens? You say, I am so and so. Imagine when you get up from your bed, you immediately first recognize who you are. It automatically comes. All the thoughts come to you. Like as you open a laptop which you have not closed so many files, immediately they all open up. In the same way, here your biography comes up. Then your relationships come up. Then your tasks for the day come up. See? You look at the watch. You start relating to the task. And then you start working towards fulfilling them. So all this, what happens is that I factor suddenly sets in. But as far as when the mind is not there, you have got no kartrutva. So the Lord says, yes, you can, if you want, you can be away from kartrutva. And when you are not yourself, you don't want to take kartrutva, then why are you pushing that on to me? So here Lord Krishna says, na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhu. Na karma phala sanyogam. He says, God by his own nature does not do anything. There is no kartrutva, bhoktrutva, karma phala. He says, I am not here to take anything. Swabhavastu pravartate. Everything happens by a particular nature which I have given to a jiva. Like for example, a mango seed. It gives you a mango fruit. Seed, it becomes a tree, and then eventually it gives you a mango fruit. And the nature of the fruit is sweet. So you can say it is sattvika. Sweet is sattvaguna. Then you have the, like say the chili seeds. You sow them, you get chilies. And then they're very spicy. You can relate them to rajas. You have the neem tree. It gives you bitterness, be it in the leaves or in the seeds or in the stalk, wherever it is, you will see bitterness. You can relate it to tamas. So God is just like a gardener. He gives the same water to the mango tree, to the neem tree, to the chili plant. The same sunlight is given to all these plants in the same manner. But based on their swabhava, the outcome evolves this way. So now if you have a question, why does God do good things, meaning good people and bad people? Why does he have this? He could have made everybody good, no? Of course, he has had that way of creation also. So when you look at the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, you see that there is a degradation in the Sattva quality. So he has created in Satya Yuga, everybody is pious. Absolutely pious. All are sages. All are in deep meditation. And after crossing further 2 yugas, when we come to Kali Yuga, then you see more of the tamas quality, bad people. So in this way, the Lord says, this is how the creation is. Here we get an understanding. And once we get an understanding, then you know that, this is the way the Lord is functioning over here. And I should understand it in the right sense. Otherwise, once you are not able to understand, what happens is you get into a state of disagreement and confusion, and you don't know what is happening in my life. You always start blaming others for such things. So this way. So here, Lord makes it very clear. Now it is just because of your ignorance, you are not able to understand what I am telling you. And here, when he says, Swabhavastu pravartate, all this by its own nature, it is happening, as he says. Now let's take, for example, there is water. And when you see water, you see bubbles on that water, isn't it? We normally see this. Now, if we say wherever there is water, there will be bubbles. It is its nature. Now, can we make a rule on these lines? Is a bubble on water its nature? No. No. Then how did bubble appear? So, when water in association with air, it turns into a bubble. So, water does not have the property of bubble in any manner, nor it has an intention to become a bubble. But if it has become a bubble, it is only due to the association with the air. So the very touch of air turns the water into a bubble. So in the same way, I have no kartrutva, I have no karma, no paramatmamaya. But how did this jiva or this kartrutva come then? By that air called ignorance. Now what is ignorance? Maya. And what is Maya by default? So I got this kartrutva, I got this karma only because of that ignorance. So all these have arisen in me. Now if the bubble breaks, what happens? The air of ignorance is driven out. And what remains? Water and water alone. That Paramatma Tattva alone remains. I just have to let the ignorance in me which is there, I have to let it go. And I'll have to rise to my true self. I need not give up karma. Just understand this carefully. I need not give up karma. I need to do the duties. I am with the feeling that I am not the Kartha. And with the feeling that this is by Prakruthi. So Lord Krishna says to drive away ignorance for Arjuna. Then he tells him, that which has divided Arjuna, you from me. Then he says, he makes him feel finite. He makes him feel very meager, minute, weak. And then he says, look, what have you become now? You have become a jiva filled with ignorance. But when I tell you that whatever is there in you is nothing but a spark of me, then that Sarvatma Bhava, that Atma Shakti rises in a person. So the same is happening over here with us. So far we feel that, what am I? You think of yourself as a very meager, small, limited person. But then Lord says, no. First of all is, you as a person, what you have thought about yourself is a self-construct. It is you who has made this construct. I am this, I am this, I am only up to this, now I have come back to this, now I have risen to this. It is all you have been making out of ignorance. You have always been that consciousness. Even now you are that consciousness. Look at this body and mind as though it is that consciousness within. By the modes of Prakriti, this whole operation is happening, and come out of that ignorance. So, this is only to drive away that ignorance of Kartrutva Bhava in us. He wants us to renounce the sense of doership. And the very purpose of human life, where we have that brain, where we can understand these facts. Otherwise, although there are so many animals which have got brains, but they cannot understand these facts. Human brain is the only species which can think, discriminate, understand, and change its course of life. But Lord has put a challenge. There is ignorance which has the soul has identified with the body and it becomes implicator. It has become implicated with the as a doer of the action. But in fact, as we know, it is by material nature. In fact, this particular aspect was told to us in the third verse also. Third verse, 27th shloka, Prakrite kriyamanani gunehi karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimodhatma kartaramiti manyate. He says all activities are carried out by the three modes of material nature, sattva, rajas and tamas. But in ignorance, the soul which is deluded by that false identification that I am this body, I am this mind, I am this senses, this conglomerate, it thinks as itself as the doer. One very important point what the Lord is trying to tell us over here. So at any given point, never we should have the feeling that I am the doer. Never we should have the feeling that God is the doer. No, he also says, I am not the doer. Don't think that I have got no work, that I wake you up and I put hunger in you, I put anger in you, and I give you the thoughts from time to time. No. There is a swabhava, there is a system, and as per this system, the swabhava, it acts on you and you get into action. So this way he very clearly mentions about this. Now, taking this forward, he takes us to another level in which we will learn in shloka 15. All this has to be understood in continuity. Then you get the right understanding. Slowly he will take us. Now, one thing, be very clear again and again, ubiquitously I keep telling this. You need to understand that we are that selected lot. Divinity has made up its mind that this category of souls need to be liberated. And whatever needs to be given is given to us. Now, whether we take it or not is in our hands. That much swatantra buddhi we have. How seriously we take it, how ineffectively we take it, or how meagerly we take it is all in our hands. So the priority we set for this endeavor is completely in our hands. But understand that he has selected us for this. So slowly he is giving us this knowledge. How many people know about what is this? You tell anybody, I'm not this body, they'll say this fellow has gone crack. I mean, keep away from him. They'll say, I'm not this body, I'm not this. Mind is saying, what is this? Yeah, what he's saying is true. He doesn't have a mind. That's why he's saying, I'm not the mind. So this way, these are known to a very few people. And even if it is known to a very few people among them are able to understand it. And very few, amongst that very few, of that very few, there are only a very few who can retain this knowledge and put it into practice. We have to reach the third state. Once you reach that state of practice, you say, come what may, I'm going to achieve this. And constantly think about this. And when you start thinking about this, what will happen is, suddenly you will see all what is being told over here will come to you as your personal self-experience. Swa Anubhuti. You will start getting those understandings, those insights. Now let's move on to the 15th verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhuhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. Now again, some more knowledge is being given to us. Yeah. So, nadatti kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhuhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. The direct translation of this can be, the all-pervading Lord does not take on the sins or merits of anyone due to ignorance which is enveloping the knowledge. We, the beings or the jeevas, are deluded. So here this verse is teaching us that God is not responsible for our actions or their consequences. We are responsible for our own karma. It also teaches us that ignorance of our true nature or of that reality is what is making us suffer. When we realize that we are nothing but a part of that Lord, and whatever is happening according to His will, we will no longer be deluded by the duality of good and bad. Now when you say will, here understand, it is the Prakriti in play. So, that ignorance which is enveloping that knowledge, and it puts us into delusion. So this line is teaching us that our ignorance of our true nature, of our reality, is what leads us to suffer. Because what we have done, you as your true self as associated with this body, and you start suffering. How can I understand this? Now, for example, let's say you have your children. Now, the association with our children is so much that when they feel happy, you feel happy. And when they feel sad, they are hurt, and they are suffering, you also suffer. How did that happen? Because of the proximity which you have created. What is the meaning of proximity? Constant thought about something. It leads you to that attachment, to that proximity. Like say, your neighbor's child, they've newly come and you don't know them much. It's just about 2-3 days ago they have come. Now if their child has a wound in their leg and blood is oozing, you as a normal human being, you'll feel a little sad about it and you'll show some compassion and expression. But imagine if that same thing happens to your child. How much you get worried. Why is that? Because you have developed that proximity. So in the same way, what we have done with this body and mind, we have developed a kind of a proximity due to which anything happens to it, we relate to ourselves saying, it has happened to me. Just as anything happens to our close ones, our dear ones. Now when we see dear ones, it could be your spouse, it could be your children, it could be your friend, your relative, whoever it is. That only depends on how much of attachment you have got towards that person. So here he says, this ignorance of our true nature, our reality, what it has made you to suffer constantly. Understand that this particular body, mind, this marvelous creation. I will share in this group about a small video which I saw. I saw this just yesterday. It shows, from this part of the body, which is the upper portion of your palm. Now, a scientist, he zooms inside. And he goes to such an extent, he goes to the minutest atom. So there he has that neutron, proton, electron, and he even goes beyond that. But there it stops. But actually what is there? As per the latest finding which we saw in 2011, where Higgs boson, he got the Nobel Prize, saying that behind the neutron, proton, electron, there is God particle. Okay, so when you look at this body, which is so marvelously built, and where is this body getting this energy? On a second to second basis, or a nanosecond to nanosecond basis, this entire body is getting that energy from that consciousness. Okay, now establish this connect. On one hand, you can see your own body. On the other hand, you know that there is something supernatural which is consciousness. There is a direct connect between these two. How was this body created? From one sperm, what are you today? A huge person, weighing 60, 70, 80 kilos. You have grown over a period of time. So many changes are happening within you. So when you understand this, immediately, all the time what we are saying, I am not this body, I am not this mind. And on the other hand, what you say, I am this Paramatma, Aham Brahmasmi, Prajnanam Brahma. Tattvamasi. So you are adding I to both these places. And it is really difficult to digest this. So a thought which came to my mind was, when you see this video, I will share it on the Imbibe group, and you meditate on that. Understand what your body is. Immediately you will say, I am not this body. You don't have to say, you will get that feeling. Because this is such a marvelous creation. And this marvelous creation, there is behind it a creator. Creator and the created are in sync, they are working together. And you, as a fool, which you always said that I am not this, I am that, you don't have to say anything, that I will just drop down. Then this Kartrutva, all that feeling, whatever we have learnt, I tell you, this is God has given us at the right time. Whatever we have learnt as give up that Kartrutva bhava. You will not even dare think that, oh, I am doing this. When you look at the magnificent way of functioning of this body, you will just drop all your claims. So when that ahankara subsides, then you know that this body is the manifested form of the Creator, which is unmanifest. The unmanifest has created this manifest. This manifest is the drashta. You have the Creator who is this manifest is the drishya, and you have the Creator who is the drashta. This manifest is jada. The unmanifest is chaitanya. This manifest is vikaratvat. It continuously changes. You were a baby one day, 1 month old. Now you are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. Continuously changing body. Whereas, on the other hand, it is nirvikaratvat. So, you understand that you have got no role to play over here. This I is purely out of ignorance which has come. Now we should start practicing this. You don't have to say that I am not this body and mind. After listening and seeing this video, knowing the nature of this body and the entire constitution, you will clearly understand that this is a masterpiece of the Creator. So in this way, now this 15th verse of this 15th chapter is very important, because it once again teaches us the nature of our karma and the path to liberation. So imagine there is a mirror. Now the mirror, whatever comes in front of it, it does not take the qualities of the things it reflects. Now there may be a dog coming in front of it, there may be a saint coming in front of it, there may be a scorpion coming in front of it. Whatever comes in front of it, it does not take the qualities. In the same way, God reflects the karma of all beings, but He does not take on their sins nor their merits. So here, I'll tell you a small story to say we are not responsible for others' actions. Many a times, when somebody does something wrong, we get mixed up with that. And then you start feeling bad. I think, I was discussing with me, I told him something, and now that person did this. I don't know whether even I am also a part of it, and things like that. You start getting jumbled up. So now we will take up in several ways. One aspect is where karma, you are not responsible for others' action. Okay. So a story goes as follows. Once there was a king. He was very wise, noble, compassionate, benevolent. He ruled his kingdom with justice and compassion. One day what happens? A group of thieves, they broke into his palace and they stole a good quantum of treasure from his palace. Naturally, the king's guards, they chased the thieves, but they were not capable of catching the thieves. Now the king was very upset about this theft. He felt that he had failed his praja, that is his people. He was so disturbed, he went to his counselor and asked for advice. Now the counselor says, Your Majesty, why are you so upset? You should not be upset. The thieves who stole your treasure are responsible for their own bad karma. You are not responsible for their actions. But the king said, Look, I am the king. It was my duty to protect my people. This money belongs to the people, and I failed in my duty in protecting the people's money. And all this he tells him. Now the counselor says, Your Majesty, you have done everything to protect your people and to protect the money also. You have created a just and a very compassionate society. You cannot be blamed for the actions of the few criminals. Then the king realized that the counselor was right. Yes, it was beyond my control, and he could not be blamed for the actions of the thieves. Then he decided to focus on his duty to rule the kingdom wisely and justly. So now what does this teach us here? It teaches that when you yourself is not responsible for your actions, because of the kartritva bhava, you have said that I am doing this, but when you give up that kartritva bhava and when you start looking that all this is happening so naturally through this body, your breathing is happening naturally, your heart is beating naturally, the blood flow, circulation of all the nutrients, digestion, excreting all the toxins and taking it to a point, all this who is doing? Are you thinking of it moment to moment? No. But so many activities are happening on its own. So then as the king thinks, yes, I am not responsible for others' action, we should now here with this knowledge think that I am not responsible for the actions which is happening through this body. Now this is not being irresponsible. Here what you are trying to say is you are giving away the kartrutva bhava. What is the meaning of giving away the kartrutva bhava? You are not having any expectation of that particular action. That's as simple as that. Now you have to understand that as far as the action is happening, become a drashta. Yes, Prakriti is doing all this action. Whatever comes is coming as per the prarabdha karma of this particular jiva. Now who are you? I am not this jiva. I am a spectator to this jiva. And understand very clearly that whatever this jiva does in this life or in the past life, it gets according to what it has done. Now like a farmer who sows seeds in his field. Now the farmer knows very well that whatever kind of seeds he sows, he'll get that kind of a harvest. If he has sown wheat seeds, he will get wheat harvest. If he has sown corn, he will get corn. If he has sown good quality seeds, he will get good quality crop. A weak quality seed, he will naturally get a weak crop. So in the same way, our actions determine our fate. If we perform good actions, we will experience good results. And if we perform bad, we are going to experience bad results. Now, how do I apply this to my life? Now, being in that state of a drashta. Now, the challenge here is, as we have understood that the Prakriti plays its role, it gives us the sattva, rajas and tamas quality in us. Now, you don't have any control on that. Like as we use good seeds, bad seeds, medium quality seeds, our result is going to be accordingly to that. So here one very important aspect comes. If everything is happening as per Prakriti, which means the thought which I am getting within me is according to Prakriti, then I have got no control over it. Think this is a very important aspect. I have no control on the aspect of what is happening in terms of a thought coming in my mind. Now here, surrendering to the Lord. what one has to do is, he has to say, now the thoughts which are coming in my mind, oh Lord, I have surrendered to thee. My only aim and intention and goal in my life is to reach thy feet. Give me the right thoughts where I can merge within you. But no thoughts are under my control. I suddenly see that I get a thought and I get into action. Yes, what you're saying is right. Prakruthi is in action. Out of ignorance, I was saying I was doing it. But now I want to not ride on the thoughts which are coming and be a pure victim and a witness to it. But I also want to change the thoughts. For what? Not for my pleasure, not for my gain, not for getting something good in this world, but only and only to reach thy true self. Because then the purpose of human life is self-realization. So in this context, now we have understood what Lord Krishna is saying over here. But now what technique which I should use where I can bring a change in my life? I want to ensure that I may not be getting the right thoughts, but I want to change the whole course of my life by getting into the right action. So here, one very important understanding we should take, where the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is one of the oldest manual of meditation, there we find a commentary written on the Yoga Sutras of Vyasa. So he quotes a very beautiful verse. He says, Evam vritti samskara chakram aharnisham avartamanam. Meaning the cycle of vrittis and samskaras, they rotate. Now connect what we have learned so far. Meaning every thought which within you comes as per your samskara, which means what just now Lord Krishna says, it is by your Prakruthi. In this sahaja manner, it comes very naturally. So when these vrittis and samskaras, they come in you, it keeps rotating constantly. A person who is tamasic, he always has the tamasic thoughts. A person who is rajasic has the rajasic thoughts. He is always wanting to do one thing or the other, go from one place to the other, possess one thing or the other. And a sattvic person always has peace and tranquility, always wants to help the other, always wants peace as his priority. So this vritti, the wheel of vrittis and samskaras, it rotates. When avartamanam, day and night, aharnisham, continuously it is rotating. Now what does it mean? Now let's notice our thoughts. If you notice carefully, if you introspect, you will see that we are really not thinking about them. They just bubble up from inside. See how much it relates to what we just now learned. Perfect relation is, you see that these thoughts just bubble from inside. And then when this thought comes from inside, we immediately put it into action. So if you really notice carefully one simple thing, like I say I want to raise my hand. So I raise my hand. So you will say, did you not think it? Did you not do it? Yes, I thought I'll raise my hand and I did it. No, before I did it, what I did, I thought about it. But before I thought about it also, if I look carefully, the decision whether I will raise or not to raise, somehow there is a subtle impulse coming from unknown depths within. Like a little bubble coming from deep within the lake. So when it comes to the surface, it becomes noticeable and it becomes an impulse. You will say, raise your hand, and you raised your hand. But I did not actually think it. Now this has been proven by science, where they have put a volunteer on an MRI scan machine, and then they gave him an option of saying, I give you an option of raising either the left hand or the right hand. And now when they told him, when you decide and you raise your hand, naturally they come to know. Before that, when they saw, there was already a neural firing in the brain. There was a decision given, you raise your right hand. This is a marvelous revelation. So which means what Patanjali and Maharishi Vyasa, they are talking, we think that we are doing something, but before that there is already a thought which very clearly says, it talks on the lines of what we are exactly talking. Swabhavastu pravartate. According to your swabhava, pravartate means it acts. So this thought, you see how it's functioning. It is bubbling from inside and then it takes possession of us, and you make a conscious thought, and then you either say something or you do something. So that is known as mana vakya kaya. Manas meaning mana vacha kaya, where body, mind and speech. So before anything, that thought bubbles up, it becomes a conscious thought, transformed into speech. Then I say something and I do something. Now here, what we are trying to achieve. I have a swabhava. Okay. I agree. Now Lord has said everything happens as per swabhava. But this rare insight, to that very few fortunate people it is given, where we are now talking of changing the course of our thoughts. Maybe I have got 80% sattva thoughts. I want to enhance it further higher. I want to take it to 90, 93, 95, 98. I want to increase the quality. So he says, now there is a technique. When you sit for meditation, observe the thoughts which are bubbling from inside. What are they? They are the tendencies. But why do only particular thoughts come up? Particular desires come up? Particular patterns of thinking? Some people, they constantly say, I don't know, I'm depressed. That's a pattern of thinking. What is the reason? It is that only because of samskara. They have so many good things in life, but they are always depressed. Some people have very meager things in life, but they are always happy. Now that is the tendency. So this tendency inherited from our past years and past lives, what is happening? There is some conditioning. And that's like what bubbles up, and often it is called forth by external circumstances. Now as it bubbles up, understand this carefully. You are sitting for meditation, the thought bubbles up. As it bubbles up, there is a small window of opportunity where the tendency, by the time it comes to the surface, before it can become an expressed thought, at the surface of the mind, speech, action. Okay. First it has to come to the mind, and then the mind, before it gets into a speech or an action, it says there is a point where one can assent, meaning you can say yes or you can say no. So this window is very, very small, and we generally miss it all the time. It's about 1 or 2 seconds, that's it. It is the prefrontal cortex which is in the front. When we do our Sukshma Vyayam, we try to strengthen the prefrontal cortex by doing as Medha Shakti Vikasaka. So now what we want is, we are trying to enlarge that 1 or 2 seconds gap to 3, 4, 5, so that you have time to change the default setting. We mostly function on default. Whatever is bubbling from inside, it takes control of us. Swabhavastu pravartate. It takes control. Some of us even try to exercise. At some point you have understood, I'm not getting the right thoughts. I want to exercise willpower, and there you exercise willpower. But it usually doesn't work. Why? You may control it once. Next time it is more powerful. It knows that there is somebody up there who is trying to suppress me. See, this is samskara, karana sharira, which has lived for billions and billions and billions of lives. It has a quality within it. And what is that quality? Swabhavastu. Now that swabhava is trying to spring forth. Now, you may control it once, but you will fail twice. That's mostly the case with most people. Now, why does it fail? If you ask this question, it has become an expressed thought at the level of the mind already. Once it has become an expressed thought at the level of the mind, there is a lot of psychic energy into it. So if you try to stop it and push it back downwards, it takes a lot of psychic energy, a lot of willpower to do that. And no wonder that we sometimes succeed, sometimes fail. Now this is the power of that thought which is generated as a samskara. Now what meditation does is it makes you aware that before it has become an expressed thought at the surface of the mind, even when it has bubbled from below, that is from the seed, from that far unknown depths, before it can come and become expressed at the mind level, you have that tiny window of conscious choice. Do I allow this? Is this positive to me in my life? Is it according to my goals in life? Is it helpful to me or is it negative to me? Now see, where do you get all this time to analyze? A thought came and you busted out. Many times we say, no, I don't know why I get angry. How do you get angry? How did you bash at somebody? That thought came and before even you could say no or yes, your action started. How did it happen? The samskara it went into the mind. Mind told the manasa vacha karmana. Manas told the vacha, speak. And karmana, that fellow got into a rage. Now, this meditator, a sadhak like us, having known this technique, now it knows it's going to take me in this wrong direction. A thought which has come, I have strengthened my prefrontal cortex. I have gained that little margin, a few seconds more. And the moment you have a choice, it comes, which is called as that samskara, inherent tendency to the surface of a mind, which we call it as vritti. Now, from that samskara to vritti, and before it can get into an action, meaning I say something, I do something, if you entertain the mind, that vritti then subsides. Okay, but it does not disappear. It goes back and it strengthens the samskara. Anytime, let's say you got a thought to say a harsh word at somebody and you did it, it doesn't stop there. It goes back again and it strengthens that samskara. So this cycle of that samskara vritti chakram, it is rotating. Now, when you are conscious, and rotating when? Not only in the waking state, even in the dream state also it rotates. You must have seen many a times with people whom you hate, you do all absurd things in the dream. And with people whom you love, there also you do absurd things. So it not only is active in the waking state, it is also active in the dream state. Now this meditator, this Raja Yogi, this sadhak, as in that conscious state, that moment, the window of opportunity as the vritti is forming, before it becomes powerful, before it has touched the mind and it has got that psychic energy, this yogi can actually see it. Immediately you'll substitute. This is the most important technique now. First you have understood that you become an observer of that thought. And then you substitute, instead of giving that default version, that angry reaction, by saying a insulting word, you say, calm down, let it go. Now when it forms, the mind, there will be a peaceful thought. Earlier, by default, it was an angry thought. Default thought is your swabhava, your tendency. See, we are relating this fine technique to what Lord Krishna is saying. You are functioning by that swabhavastu pravartate. Yes, if I am going to work by my tendency, then again as by the tendency, I will never be able to uplift myself. So it is Lord Krishna who is giving us this additional knowledge here. Observe that. Now that angry thought, replace it with a peaceful thought. He said, let it go. Forgive him. Now, you have done this at the seed state. The moment the angry thought, much before coming to the mind and creating that psychic energy, you said, let it go. And as this happens, there is a peaceful reaction to an irritating circumstance. And this peaceful reaction now goes back and settles in your Karana Sharira and holds on to that vritti. Now that vritti transforms into an action, and as it goes down, now that is again rotating, it goes back into your subconscious and it becomes a samskara over time. I'm not talking of once. Angry thought came, you noticed it, you suppressed it, saying, leave it, let it go. Again it came, leave it, let it go. You did this several times, and eventually you will see that instead of those angry thoughts bubbling up, you will start getting the kind thoughts. Now, these are those nice and kind thoughts which will take you on the spiritual path to a much greater level. Now, I have decided to be a sadhak, let's say. Not just a sadhak, an advanced sadhak. And I've got certain things to do. I want to do certain things. I don't want to do certain things. I should do certain things. Now, all the thoughts, as far as I'm correcting them at the bottommost level, immediately you will see there is no conflict. I want to do that, I should do. This conflict is gone, and slowly the yogi transforms himself. In what way? What I want, what I should do is also what I want to do. Then things becomes easier in life. Many a times we take resolve that I want to do such and such a good thing, but we'll end up not able to do it because our samskaras are not in line. As Lord Krishna is saying, it is swabhavastu tapavartate. My swabhava is something else. Now where I am not able to match my swabhava. To rise on the spiritual path, I need a different swabhava, but my swabhava is different. But here he gives us the technique. Go into that meditation. Start observing your thoughts. Before they come and they express in your mind with that psychic energy, immediately change that thought. So for this, not when you are sitting and doing meditation all the time, although that's one practice you need to do based on all the events which have happened during the day in your life. But constantly you should be alert when somebody talks something where you can get hurt. Immediately, in that split second, you should be able to change the thought in your mind. If an angry thought, because somebody told you, it triggered you. Angry thought should be coming. But now you have changed the tendency of your thought. You just get a kind thought. You say, let it go. He is ignorant. He is a frustrated person in life. He is somebody who is disgusted in life. What is troubling him, God only knows. Forgive him. Be kind to that person. anger is one very important aspect. In the future verses, we will understand anger and desire, these two things, if a person is able to win over in life, Lord Krishna says, you are liberated. These are the primary characteristics to become liberated in life. So now what are we trying to do? Using this fine technique. Now knowing what it is, first of all, I am not the Kartha, nor Ishvara is the Kartha. What Papa and Punya has to happen is based on the action of a Jiva. Which actions are happening as per the Swabhava, which is Prakruthi? I know all this. But now, having detached myself, now I am still in that Jiva Bhava. I have to rise to reach this state of self-realization. So for that I need to increase my Sattva Guna. So using this technique here, what the Maharishi Vedavyasa has given us, you have to focus on the thought which is generated from deep within. Before it comes up, change the flavor of the thought and alter the direction and the speed in which your life is moving ahead. So then you are able to understand things in the right perspective, do the things in the right perspective, enjoy what you are doing, and eventually reach the abode of the Lord. Shri Krishna Idam. So now we take up the Vishnu Sahasranama. (384) and 385, these two divine names we are taking today. Vyavasayah and Vyavasthanah. Okay. This is the 42nd shloka of the Vishnu Sahasranama. Vyavasayo vyavasthanah samsthanasthanado dhruvah parardip paramaspashtah tushta pushta subhekshanah. (384) Vyavasayah means resolute, being of the nature of pure wisdom. There is no vacillation in him. All irresolution is at the level of a doubting mind and the unprepared intellect. So the term Vyavasayah also means yoga. In this sense, the term is used in the Gita. The intellect of one who is practicing yoga is single-pointed without vacillation. This is in the second chapter, 41st verse. Vyavasayatmika buddhi kurunandanaha. So what it says is, again in the same chapter, criticizing those who are running after enjoyment and power. Krishna says, those who are reveling in sensuality and consequently disturbing the poise of their intellect cannot have a steady mind and consistent pursuit of yoga. So to work persistently until the goal is reached is resolution. To steadily apply ourselves in continuously withdrawing ourselves from our identifications with the not self until we come to apprehend and experience the self is yoga. Hence, commentators interpret Vyasaya as yoga. Vyavasaya as yoga. Now, 385, Vyavasthanaha. The meaning of Vyavasthana means the basis or the substratum. The one who is the very substratum for the entire pluralistic world. The one who orders the laws of the cosmos and administers those laws. So he is known as Vyavasthanaha. So to such a Lord who is Vyavasayaha, Vyavasthanaha, we offer our humble salutations, seek his grace, mercy, and now we recite the Dhanvantari mantra thrice and seek the blessings of Lord Dhanvantari to give us the appropriate health to achieve all that what we want to in our life. And the sole purpose is self-realization. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Our humble salutations to Lord Dhanvantari. Now let's do the meditation of Sakshi Bhava, being in the state of as a witness. We observe our mind and we observe our thoughts. Now let's sit in a comfortable posture. Head, neck, and spine in a straight line. Relax your forehead. Relax your face. Focus on your breath. Feel the inhalation from your nostrils till the bottom of your abdomen, below the navel. Experience the exhalation and the inhalation. Now slowly observe your mind. Observe the thoughts in your mind. The mind is serene, calm, and peaceful. Few thoughts are arising in your mind here and there. Without being judgmental, observe the thoughts. Slowly withering away. You can see the number of thoughts are gradually reducing. Experience that calm and still mind. Become aware of your breath. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Rub your palm, place them on your eyes. Slowly and gently open your eyes. Together, we offer today's Gita Jnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Lord. Naham Karta Hari Karta Hari Preranaya Hari Prityartham. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Battery 90%. Connected to iPhone.